Amanda Cross stood at the gates of Pacific University and felt her hands shake. She had commanded a battle cruiser against alien enemies for 3 years. She had made decisions that saved thousands of lives. But walking onto a college campus made her nervous in a way that space combat never did. The transport shuttle had dropped her off 20 minutes ago. Students walked past her carrying books and talking loudly. Some had blue skin and extra arms. Others looked human but had strange marks on their faces. A peace treaty had brought many alien species to Earth schools. Amanda was still getting used to seeing former enemies as classmates. "Amanda, over here." A young man waved at her from across the courtyard. Jake Cross, her younger brother, jogged toward her with a big smile. He looked older than she remembered. 3 years of war had changed them both. "Jake." Amanda hugged him briefly. Physical contact still felt strange after so long in command. Officers kept their distance from crew members, but Jake was family. "You made it," Jake said. "I was worried you might change your mind again." Amanda picked up her single bag. Everything she owned fit inside. "Military life taught you to travel light. I said I would come. I keep my promises. I know you do." Jake's voice was gentle. "Come on, I'll show you to your dorm room. Fair warning, though, your roommate is interesting." They walked across the campus together. Amanda's eyes moved constantly, checking exits and watching for threats. Old habits from the war. Students sat on grass talking and laughing. The sound made her tense. Too many voices at once. On her ship, people spoke quietly and with purpose. "So what's my roommate like?" Amanda asked. "Her name is Katie Williams. She's studying engineering like you. Really smart. She asked a million questions when she heard about you." Jake glanced at his sister. "I didn't tell her much. Just that you served in the war." "Good." Amanda preferred to keep her military service private. People looked at her differently when they knew she had been Lieutenant Commander Cross, the Iron Cross who broke the siege at Kepler Station. They reached a tall building with many windows. Jake led her inside and up 3 flights of stairs. The hallway smelled like cleaning products and young people living in small spaces. Amanda had grown used to the recycled air of spaceships. This was different, but not unpleasant. Jake stopped at room 304 and knocked. "Katie, I brought my sister." The door opened and a girl with short red hair and bright green eyes looked out. She was small and energetic, like she had too much electricity inside her body. "You must be Amanda. I'm Katie. Come in, come in." The room was tiny. 2 beds, 2 desks, and barely enough space to walk between them. Katie's side was covered with engineering textbooks and small machines she had built. Amanda's side was empty, except for basic furniture. "I hope you don't mind," Katie said quickly. "I tend to stay up late working on projects. I have noise-canceling headphones if you need quiet to sleep, and I sometimes talk to myself when I'm solving problems. My last roommate said it was annoying, but I think she was just jealous because I'm better at math than her." Amanda set down her bag. "I don't need much quiet. I'm used to engine noise." "Engine noise?" Katie's eyes got wider. "What kind of engines? Atmospheric aircraft? Space vessels?" "Please tell me space vessels because I've been dying to meet someone who's actually been off-planet." Jake laughed. "I'll leave you two to get acquainted. Amanda, I'll pick you up for dinner at 6. The cafeteria is crazy, but the food is decent." After Jake left, Amanda unpacked her few belongings. 3 uniforms, some casual clothes, a datapad with technical manuals, and a picture of her and Jake from before the war. Katie watched with obvious curiosity. "You don't have much stuff," Katie observed. "I don't need much." Amanda hung up her clothes in the small closet. "What are you working on?" She nodded toward Katie's desk, covered in electronic parts. A gravity sensor array. I'm trying to make it more sensitive than current models. The theory says it should work, but I keep getting interference from the building's electrical system. Katie picked up a small device and turned it over in her hands. I think the problem is in the calibration matrix. Amanda looked at the device. She had worked with similar sensors on her ship. They were used to detect enemy vessels hiding behind asteroids. The interference might be coming from the metal framework in the walls. Try adjusting the frequency modulation by 15%. Katie's mouth opened. How did you know that? Lucky guess. Amanda finished unpacking and sat on her bed. The mattress was softer than her ship bunk, but felt strange. That wasn't a guess. You know about gravity sensors. Katie sat on her own bed and leaned forward. Jake said you served in the war, but he didn't say what you did. Were you an engineer? A pilot? Amanda hesitated. She wanted to fit in at the university. Being known as a war hero would make that harder. But Katie seemed genuinely interested in the technical aspects rather than the glory. I commanded a ship, Amanda said simply. You were a captain? That's amazing. What kind of ship? How big was the crew? Did you see actual combat? Katie's questions came fast and excited. It's not as exciting as it sounds. Amanda stood up and walked to the window. The campus stretched out below, full of young people who had never seen war. Mostly it was long periods of boredom, followed by short periods of terror. Katie was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. My older brother wanted to enlist. My parents wouldn't let him. They said the war was too dangerous, and he was too young. He was angry about it for months. Your parents were smart. War changes people. Amanda turned away from the window. I should go find my first class. The engineering building is supposed to be near here. I can show you. I have advanced physics in an hour. We could walk together. Katie jumped up and grabbed her bag. They left the dorm and walked across campus. Amanda noticed how Katie's energy seemed to fill the space around her. She talked constantly about her classes, her projects, and her theories about faster-than-light travel. It was overwhelming, but also strangely comforting. Katie's enthusiasm reminded Amanda why she had wanted to finish her engineering degree in the first place. The engineering building was old, but well-maintained. Large windows let in natural sunlight. Amanda had almost forgotten what real sunlight felt like after years under artificial ship lighting. They found the classroom for advanced physics and took seats near the back. Other students filled the room gradually. Most were human, but Amanda spotted at least 6 different alien species. A tall being with purple skin and 4 arms sat in the front row. 2 creatures that looked like walking plants whispered to each other in a corner. Amanda recognized some of the species from intelligence briefings during the war. Professor Martin Wells entered the room carrying a stack of papers and a cup of coffee. He was middle-aged with gray hair and tired eyes. He looked like someone who had spent his life thinking about theories rather than applying them. Good morning, class. Today we're going to discuss theoretical applications of momentum conservation in 3-dimensional space combat scenarios. Professor Wells wrote equations on the board with quick, practiced movements. Amanda sat up straighter. This was exactly the kind of problem she had dealt with every day during the war, but she forced herself to stay quiet and listen. She was here to learn, not to show off. Professor Wells presented a complex scenario involving 2 ships trying to outmaneuver each other near a planet with strong gravity. He asked the class to calculate the optimal approach vectors for each vessel. Students raised their hands and offered various solutions. Most were mathematically correct, but impractical for real combat situations. Amanda watched the equations on the board and saw immediately what was wrong with each approach. Miss Cross. Professor Wells had noticed her sitting quietly while others struggled with the problem. Do you have thoughts on this scenario? Amanda felt every eye in the room turn toward her. She could give the textbook answer and blend in with the other students, or she could solve the problem the way she had solved it dozens of times in actual combat. She stood up slowly. The approaches everyone suggested would work in theory, but in real combat, you also have to consider crew, fatigue, equipment wear, and enemy unpredictability. The optimal solution is actually much simpler. She walked to the board and wrote out a series of calculations. Her movements were quick and confident. The math was elegant and practical. When she finished, the room was completely silent. Professor Wells stared at the board for a long moment. Where did you learn to solve combat equations like that? Amanda realized she had made a mistake. She had revealed too much about her background. But there was no taking it back now. Experience, she said simply, and returned to her seat. The alien students in the front row were looking at her with new interest. One of them, the purple-skinned being with 4 arms, was staring at her with what might have been recognition. Class ended 20 minutes later. As students filed out, Katie grabbed Amanda's arm. That was incredible. You solved that problem, like you'd done it before. Have you studied advanced combat theory? Is that something they teach ship commanders? Amanda shouldered her bag and headed for the door. It's something you learn when lives depend on getting it right. 2 weeks into the semester, Amanda had settled into a routine. Wake up at 0500 hours, exercise for an hour, shower, eat breakfast, and attend classes. Her roommate Katie found the schedule amusing but helpful. Katie was naturally disorganized, and Amanda's structure helped keep her on track too. Amanda's grades were perfect, but that created its own problems. In her advanced propulsion systems class, she had corrected 3 textbook errors based on her real experience with damaged engines. Professor Williams had been impressed, but confused. How did a first-year student know more about engine failures than the book? Amanda, can you stay after class today? Professor Williams asked as other students packed their bags. Amanda nodded and waited until the room was empty. Professor Williams was a kind man in his 50s who had spent his career studying theoretical propulsion. He meant well, but his knowledge came from simulations rather than practice. Your work has been exceptional, he began, but some of your solutions are quite advanced. Where did you learn about engine stress patterns under combat conditions? I read a lot, Amanda said simply. Professor Williams smiled. I've been teaching for 20 years. I know the difference between book learning and practical experience. You've worked with these systems before. Amanda remained silent. She had learned that saying nothing was often better than lying. I'm not trying to embarrass you, Professor Williams continued. I'm curious. If you have practical experience, perhaps you could help me update the curriculum. These textbooks are getting outdated. I'll think about it, Amanda said, and left. The classroom. Walking across campus, Amanda noticed 3 alien students following her. They stayed far enough back to seem casual, but Amanda's military training made her aware of surveillance. She had seen them before, always watching her from a distance. She led them on a longer route to her dorm, testing their commitment. They followed persistently, but carefully. Finally, Amanda stopped beside a bench near the library and sat down. If they wanted to talk, she would make it easy for them. The 3 aliens approached slowly. The leader was tall with purple skin and 4 arms. His species was Zeltharian, former enemies during the war. The other 2 were smaller, with the same purple coloring, but different markings on their faces. Lieutenant Commander Cross, the leader said in accented English. We need to speak with you. Amanda's body tensed automatically. Being recognized by former enemies was not good, but she kept her voice calm. I think you have me confused with someone else. We do not. The alien's forearms moved in, what Amanda recognized as a gesture of respect. I am Zex Kalar. These are my nest siblings, Pexmiron and Nexvoth. We fought against your fleet at Kepler Station. Amanda stood slowly. Her hand moved toward her waist, where she used to carry a weapon. But she was unarmed and in civilian clothes. The war is over. Yes, the war is over. Zex Kalar's voice held no hostility. We wish to speak with you about that battle. You saved many lives that day, including Zaltharian lives. This was unexpected. Amanda had heard about Zaltharian honor codes, but experiencing them was different. Why are you here? On Earth, I mean. Exchange students. Pexmiron spoke for the first time. Her voice was higher than her brother's. The peace treaty includes educational exchanges. We study human engineering methods. And you recognized me how? Amanda asked. Your tactical pattern in the physics class, Zex Kalar explained. It was identical to your combat maneuvers at Kepler Station. We studied your methods extensively. You are famous among our military strategists. Amanda sat back down on the bench. This conversation was getting complicated. What do you want? Understanding, Nexvoth said simply. Your species confused us during the war. You fought with great skill, but also showed mercy when victory was certain. This is not common among warrior species. We're not a warrior species, Amanda said. We're just people trying to survive. The three Zaltharians exchanged looks. Their facial expressions were hard to read, but Amanda sensed surprise. Your military defeated 3 allied species, Zex Kalar said. Your ships outmaneuvered fleets twice their size. Your soldiers fought with remarkable determination. How are you not warriors? We fought because we had to. Most of us would rather build things than destroy them. Amanda looked at the students walking past them. That's why I'm here, learning to build instead of fight. This is why we wish to speak with you, Pexmiron said. We do not understand human motivations. You won the war, but did not conquer our worlds. You offered peace instead of slavery. Our leaders are still debating why. Amanda thought about how to explain human nature to former enemies. We fight to protect what we care about. Once the threat is gone, there's no reason to keep fighting. But you could have taken our resources, our technology, our labor force. Nexvoth's voice held genuine confusion. Victory grants the right to conquest, not for us. Amanda stood up again. We have enough problems taking care of our own people. Why would we want to control yours? The conversation was interrupted by Katie's voice, calling from across the courtyard. Amanda! There. You are. I've been looking everywhere for you. Katie jogged over, slightly out of breath. She stopped short when she saw the 3 Zaltharians. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. It's fine, Amanda said. Katie Williams meets Zex Kalar, Pexmiron, and Nexvoth. They're exchange students. Zaltharians. Katie's eyes lit up with excitement. I've read about your species' approach to quantum mechanics. The way you calculate probability cascades is fascinating. Pexmiron tilted her head. You study our mathematics? I study everyone's mathematics. Human, Zaltharian, Voltan, whoever has interesting ideas. Katie pulled a datapad from her bag. I've been working on a problem that combines human intuitive leaps with Zaltharian precision calculations. Want to see? The tension in the group relaxed as Katie launched into an enthusiastic explanation of her project. Amanda watched the interaction with interest. Katie treated the aliens as fellow students rather than former enemies. Her natural curiosity overcame any fear or prejudice. This is remarkable work, Zex Kalar said after examining Katie's calculations. You have combined our methods in ways we had not considered. That's the point of peace, right? Katie said cheerfully. We can learn from each other instead of trying to blow each other up. Nexvoth made a sound that might have been laughter. Your species has an interesting perspective on conflict resolution. Amanda's the one you should ask about that, Katie said. She's got more practical experience than any of us. Amanda gave Katie a warning look, but the damage was done. The Zeltharians were already studying Amanda with renewed interest. You have combat experience? Paxmaran asked. Some, Amanda said carefully. We should go, Zex Collar said suddenly. We have taken enough of your time. But perhaps we could continue. This discussion later? We have many questions about human thinking. Maybe, Amanda said, if you promise to keep my background private. I'm here to study, not to be famous. Understood, all three aliens said together. After they left, Katie turned to Amanda with barely contained excitement. That was amazing. Do you know how rare? It is to have actual Zeltharians willing to discuss their mathematics, and they seemed to really respect you. What did you do during the war that impressed them so much? I did my job, Amanda said simply. Come on, you can tell me more than that. Were you really just a ship commander? Because the way they looked at you was like you were some kind of legend. Amanda started walking toward their dorm. I commanded a ship during some difficult battles. That's all. Amanda Cross, you are the most mysterious person I've ever met. Katie fell into step beside her. But I'm patient. I'll figure you out eventually. That evening, Amanda sat in the engineering lab working on a project for her materials science. Class, the assignment was to design a hull plating system that could withstand micrometeorite impacts. For most students, this was a theoretical exercise. For Amanda, it was a practical problem she had solved many times. She was deep in calculations when someone sat down across from her. Looking up, she saw a young man with dark hair and intense brown eyes. He wore a veteran's pin on his jacket. You're? Amanda Cross, he said. It wasn't a question. Do I know you? Ryan Murphy. I served on the USS Defiant during the war. We were at the Battle of Proxima 7. Amanda remembered that battle. The Defiant had taken heavy damage, but continued fighting until the enemy retreated. You were the engineering officer who kept the engines running after the power core was damaged. Ryan smiled grimly. That's me. I heard there was another veteran enrolled here. Didn't expect it to be the Iron Cross herself. Please don't use that name, Amanda said quietly. Why not? You earned it. The whole fleet knows what you did at Kepler Station. Ryan leaned forward. You saved thousands of lives that day. Human and alien both. I did what had to be done. Nothing more. See? That's exactly what I expected you to say. Ryan pulled out his own data pad and showed her the screen. I'm working on this propulsion efficiency problem. The math isn't adding up. Mind taking a look? Amanda studied his calculations. The theory was sound but incomplete. You're missing the stress factors from rapid acceleration changes. Here, try this modification. She made quick adjustments to his equations. Ryan watched her work with obvious admiration. The explosion happened on a Tuesday morning during Amanda's third week of classes. She was in the library studying quantum mechanics when the building shook violently. Books fell from shelves and students screamed. Emergency alarms began wailing throughout the campus. Amanda's military training kicked in immediately. She stood up and moved toward the nearest exit while scanning for threats. Other students were panicking, running in random directions. Amanda grabbed a frightened freshman by the shoulder. Walk, don't run, she said firmly. Follow the exit signs. Stay calm. Outside the library, thick black smoke was rising from the engineering building. Amanda could see flames in the windows of the experimental fusion lab on the third floor. Students were pouring out of nearby buildings, many of them confused and scared. Katie appeared at Amanda's side, her face pale with worry. That's the advanced physics lab. There are students in there. Alien students who might not know our emergency procedures. Amanda looked around for campus security or emergency responders. She saw 2 security guards trying to control the crowd, but they seemed overwhelmed. No fire department had arrived yet. In a crisis, every second mattered. Katie, find Ryan Murphy. He should be in the engineering building. Tell him to meet me at the main entrance. Amanda was already moving toward the smoking building. Then help evacuate the surrounding areas. Where are you going? Katie called after her. To help, Amanda replied without stopping. The engineering building was in chaos. Students were streaming out of the lower floors, but Amanda could see people trapped on higher levels. The elevator system had shut down automatically, and the main stairwell was blocked by debris from the explosion. Amanda found Ryan near the building entrance, coughing from smoke inhalation. His engineering knowledge made him valuable in this situation. What's the status? Amanda asked. Fusion lab explosion on the 3rd floor. The automatic systems contained most of the blast, but there's a radiation leak. At least 12 students are trapped in the lab itself. Ryan wiped soot from his face. The emergency responders are 15 minutes out. 15 minutes is too long. Amanda studied the building layout in her mind. What about the service elevator on the west side? Might still be working, but the radiation levels near the lab are dangerous for humans. Amanda nodded grimly. She had dealt with radiation exposure during the war. It was dangerous, but manageable with proper precautions. What about aliens? How does radiation affect different species? Depends on the species. Zeltharians are more sensitive than humans. Voltans can handle more. I don't know about the others. The crowd behind them was growing larger and more agitated. Parents were arriving to look for their children. News crews were setting up cameras. But no one was actually helping the trapped students. Amanda. Zek's collar appeared through the smoke, his 4 arms moving frantically. My nest sibling Nexvoth is trapped in the lab. The radiation will kill him within the hour. How many students total? Amanda asked. 12. 7 humans, 3 Zeltharians, 2 Voltans. They were working on a group project when the reactor destabilized. Amanda made a decision that felt both familiar and terrifying. She was taking command of a crisis situation, just like during the war. But this time, she was saving lives instead of taking them. Ryan, I need you to find the building maintenance chief. Get access to the radiation suits and portable air filters. Also find out if that service elevator is working. She turned to Zek's collar. Can you contact the other alien families? I need to know the radiation tolerance for each species. You have a plan? Ryan asked. I'm making one. Move. Both men hurried away to follow her instructions. Amanda stood alone for a moment, looking up at the burning building. She could hear voices calling for help from the upper floors. Time was running out. Katie returned with 2 campus security guards. These are Officers Blake and Martinez. They want to know what you're doing. Organizing a rescue, Amanda said simply. Officer Blake was a middle-aged man who looked stressed. Ma'am, you need to stay back. This is a dangerous situation. We're waiting for the fire department. The fire department doesn't have equipment for radiation exposure. Those students will be dead before proper help arrives. Amanda's voice carried the authority of someone used to making life or death decisions. I have experience with this type of situation. What kind of experience? Officer Martinez asked suspiciously. Military. Ship reactor emergencies. Amanda didn't have time to explain her full background. I know what I'm doing. Ryan returned with good news. Service elevator is functional. I found 3 radiation suits and portable air scrubbers. The building chief is bringing them over. Good. How long do we have before radiation levels become lethal? For humans, maybe 2 hours. For Zeltharians, closer to 1 hour. The Voltans can probably survive longer. Zek's caller came back with information about alien physiology. Zeltharian cellular structure is particularly vulnerable to this type of radiation. My nest siblings will need immediate medical attention after exposure. Amanda was forming a rescue plan when Professor Williams arrived. He pushed through the crowd, his face frantic with worry. "Some of my best students are in there," he said breathlessly. "Is there anything we can do?" "We're going to get them." "Out," Amanda said with confidence she didn't entirely feel. "But I need accurate building schematics. The lab layout, ventilation systems, emergency protocols." Professor Williams pulled out his datapad and called up the building plans. "Here, the lab has emergency containment protocols, but they're designed to keep radiation in, not people out." Amanda studied the schematics quickly. Her military experience with ship layouts helped her understand the building structure. She could see 3 possible routes to the trapped students, but all of them involved significant risks. "The main corridor is blocked by debris," she said, thinking out loud. "The emergency stairwell has structural damage, but the service route through the maintenance area might work." "That route goes directly past the reactor core," Ryan pointed out. "The radiation exposure would be massive. Not if we're fast and properly shielded." Amanda looked around at the faces watching her. Students, faculty, security officers, alien families. They were all depending on her to find a solution. "We go in teams of 2. Quick extraction. Minimum exposure time." Officer Blake stepped forward. "I can't authorize civilians to enter that building." "Then don't authorize it," Amanda said bluntly. "But those students are going to die if someone doesn't act." The building maintenance chief arrived with the radiation suits and equipment. Amanda examined the suits quickly. They were standard civilian protection gear, not military grade. They would provide some protection, but not enough for extended exposure. "These will have to do," she said. "Ryan, you're with me on the first team. We'll take the most critical cases first." "I'm coming too," Zek's caller said firmly. "No, you're not trained for this type of operation." Amanda's tone left no room for argument. "I need you to coordinate with the families and medical teams. Make sure we have proper treatment ready when we bring people out." Katie grabbed Amanda's arm. "This is insane. You could die in there. People are definitely going to die if we don't try." Amanda gently removed Katie's hand. "I've done this before. Trust me." "When? When have you done this before?" Amanda paused. The truth was that she had never done exactly this before. But she had led rescue operations during the war. She had made split-second decisions under pressure. She had saved lives when everyone else gave up hope during the war. Reactor damage on damaged ships. Personnel trapped in contaminated compartments. It wasn't a complete lie. This is similar. Amanda and Ryan put on the radiation suits and checked their equipment. Portable air scrubbers, emergency medical supplies, communication devices. The suits were bulky and would slow them down, but they were necessary. 12 minutes maximum exposure time, Amanda told Ryan. We get in, grab whoever we can, and get out. No heroics. Understood, Commander, Ryan said, using her old military rank without thinking. They entered the building through the service entrance. The hallways were filled with smoke and the acrid smell of burning electronics. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows on the walls. Their radiation detectors began clicking steadily as they moved deeper into the building. The service elevator was still working, but Amanda could hear mechanical strain in its operation. The building's systems were failing gradually. They had even less time than she had calculated. They reached the 3rd floor, and Amanda could see the damaged lab through thick safety glass. 12 students were huddled in one corner, as far from the reactor as possible. Some were unconscious. Others were clearly sick from radiation exposure. "The containment door is sealed," Ryan observed. "We'll need to override the emergency locks." Amanda examined the control panel. It was similar to systems she had used on military ships. "I can bypass this, but it will take a few minutes. Start preparing the medical stretchers." As she worked on the door controls, Amanda could hear the trapped students calling for help. Their voices were weak and scared. Among them, she recognized the voices of Nexvoth and 2 human students from her physics class. The door locks disengaged with a loud mechanical sound. Immediately, their radiation detectors began clicking much faster. 6 months after the radiation rescue, Amanda stood in the university's main auditorium, preparing for the biggest presentation of her academic career. The auditorium was packed with students, faculty, military officials, and alien dignitaries. Her senior capstone project had drawn attention from across the galaxy. Katie checked the presentation equipment one final time. "Everything looks good. Your slides are loaded, the holographic projector is working, and the scale model is ready." Amanda nodded, but felt nervous in a way she hadn't experienced since her first space battle. Public speaking to this many important people was different from commanding a ship crew. "Are Ryan and the others ready?" "We're all set," Ryan said, walking up with their other team members. The project team included Katie, Zexcaller, Pex Miran, and a human veteran named Lisa Chun, who had joined them during the spring semester. Together, they represented the new era of cooperation between former enemies. "Remember, stick to the script," Amanda told them. "We each present our section and then demonstrate the simulation. Simple and clear." Zexcaller made a gesture with his 4 arms that Amanda had learned meant agreement. "We have practiced many times. The project will speak for itself." The project was a new type of rescue vessel that combined human durability, Zeltharian precision, and advanced safety systems. They had spent months designing every detail, incorporating lessons from the campus radiation incident and Amanda's military experience. The result was something neither species could have created alone. Dean Robertson introduced the team to the audience. "These students have created something remarkable. A vessel designed not for war, but for saving lives. I present the Interspecies Rescue Vessel Project Team." Amanda walked to the podium and looked out at the crowd. She saw her brother Jake in the 3rd row, smiling proudly. Professor Williams sat with other faculty members, nodding encouragingly. In the back, she spotted several military officers she recognized from her service days. 6 months ago, we experienced a crisis on this campus," Amanda began. 12 students were trapped in a contaminated laboratory. The rescue operation revealed gaps in our emergency response capabilities, especially for mixed species environments. She clicked to the first slide, showing the rescue vessel's exterior design. The ship looked sleek but sturdy, with multiple docking ports and specialized equipment bays. Our team decided to design a solution, a rescue vessel that could operate in any environment and provide aid to any species. Amanda's confidence grew as she spoke about the technical details. This was familiar territory. Katie took over the next section, explaining the ship's power systems. "We used Zeltharian energy efficiency calculations combined with human redundancy principles. The result is a power core that can operate at maximum capacity for 72 hours, with backup. Systems extending that to 1 week." The audience listened intently as each team member presented their contribution. Ryan discussed the structural engineering that made the ship nearly indestructible. Lisa explained the medical bays designed to treat multiple species simultaneously. The Zeltharian students covered the navigation systems that could operate in damaged space environments. When the technical presentations finished, Amanda returned to the podium. "Now we'll demonstrate the vessel's capabilities using our simulation system." The lights dimmed, and a large holographic display activated in the center of the auditorium. A three-dimensional space scene appeared, showing a damaged space station with multiple ships in distress. This scenario is based on an actual rescue operation during the war, Amanda explained. Multiple vessels with mixed crews requiring immediate evacuation from a failing station. The simulation began, and their rescue vessel moved through the scene with smooth efficiency. It docked with damaged ships, evacuated personnel, provided medical treatment, and coordinated with other rescue efforts. The audience watched in fascination as the ship handled crisis after crisis. Traditional rescue vessels can handle 1 or 2 species at a time, Amanda continued. Our design can simultaneously treat humans, Saltharians, Vultans, and 3 other species. It can operate in radiation fields, asteroid fields, and near-stellar phenomena. The simulation concluded with all personnel safely evacuated and the rescue vessel preparing for its next mission. The auditorium was silent for a moment, then erupted in applause. Dean Robertson returned to the podium. Are there questions for the team? Several hands went up immediately. A military officer in the front row stood first. Commander Cross, this design incorporates classified human military technology. How did you obtain access to those specifications? Amanda felt the familiar tension of having her past examined. I have experience with similar systems from my service record. All technology used in this project is publicly available or original research. A Zeltharian diplomat asked the next question. How does this design address the political challenges of interspecies cooperation? Many species prefer their own rescue services. Zexcaller answered smoothly. The vessel is designed to work with existing rescue services, not replace them. It provides capabilities that no single species currently possesses. In a true emergency, politics matter less than survival. More questions followed about technical specifications, manufacturing costs, and implementation challenges. The team answered each one confidently, drawing on months of detailed research and planning. Finally, a woman in the back row stood up. Amanda recognized her as Dr. Sarah Martinez from the Interspecies Engineering Consortium. Miss Cross, your team has created something impressive. But this seems beyond the scope of the student project. What are your plans after graduation? Amanda looked at her teammates, then back at the audience. We hope to continue developing this concept. The universe is a dangerous place, and there are always people who need help. Species shouldn't matter when lives are at stake. Dr. Martinez smiled. The consortium has been following your work. We'd like to discuss a development contract with your team, building actual prototypes based on your design. The auditorium buzzed with excitement. A real contract from the consortium was a huge opportunity. Amanda felt her heart racing as the implications sank in. We would be honored to discuss that possibility, she said carefully. After the presentation ended, people crowded around the team, asking questions and offering congratulations. Amanda found herself separated from her teammates, surrounded by military officers and government officials. Commander Cross, Admiral Phillips, approached her. Amanda remembered him from her war service. Impressive work. The military could use this type of innovation. Thank you, sir. But I'm focused on civilian applications now. Of course. But remember, saving lives is what the military does too. Not all our missions involve combat. Admiral Phillips handed her a card. If you ever want to return to service, give me a call. Amanda pocketed the card politely, but had no intention of using it. Her military career was behind her. Katie rescued her from the crowd, pulling her aside for a private conversation. The consortium offer is real. Dr. Martinez wants to meet with us next week to discuss details. What do you think? Amanda asked. I think we should do it. This project could actually help people. Real people in real danger. Katie's eyes were bright with excitement. Isn't that what you wanted? To use your experience to build something instead of destroy? Amanda nodded slowly. That was exactly what she had wanted, though she hadn't quite admitted it to herself until now. Jake appeared at her shoulder, grinning widely. I'm proud of you, sis. You found your path forward. Thanks, Jake. It took a while to figure out. The reception after the presentation lasted for hours. Amanda spoke with dozens of people about the project, about her plans, about the future of interspecies cooperation. She realized that somewhere during the evening, she had stopped thinking of herself as a former military commander trying to become a civilian. She was simply Amanda Cross, engineer and builder of things that mattered. Late that night, Amanda sat in her dorm room with Katie, reviewing notes from the presentation. Their room looked different now than it had at the beginning of the year. Katie's engineering projects covered her side as always, but Amanda's side now held technical manuals, prototype components, and photographs from their project work. So what happens now? Katie asked. We graduate in 2 weeks. Then we see if the consortium offer is as good as it sounds. Amanda set down her notes and looked at her roommate. I never thanked you properly. For what? For helping me figure out who I want to be. For showing me that my past doesn't have to define my future. Amanda smiled. For being my friend when I didn't know how to be anyone's friend. Katie laughed. You're being too dramatic. You just needed time to adjust. Maybe, but you made the adjustment easier. 2 weeks later, Amanda walked across the graduation stage to receive her engineering degree. In the audience, she could see Jake cheering. Loudly, her parents looking proud, and her project teammates applauding. Zek's collar and his nest siblings had invited their own families, who had traveled across the galaxy to attend the ceremony. Amanda's name was called, and she stepped forward to receive her diploma. As she shook the dean's hand, she thought about how much had changed since that first day when she stood at the university gates feeling lost and uncertain.